Joining us right now is our good friend MacKenzie Ellis. She is from the American Suicide Prevention. MacKenzie, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, always glad to be here.
Of course, and then for today, we're going to be talking about men's mental health. As you know, it is the awareness month is in June.
Yes.
So can you kind of talk about the hurdles that men face when it comes to mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I want you to think more about, just even here in our West Texas culture, right? We tell everybody, but especially our men, to oh, just rub some dirt on it, or oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? And so I think that, and then just on top of like, hey, even we tell our young boys like, boys don't cry, and so when you're constantly fighting those stigmas within our culture, it can be really difficult for men to sometimes reach out for that extra support.
That is so true. And kind of going off of that, why is it so important for us to address men's mental health specifically?
Yes, well, just kind of like I was saying, men are less likely to reach out for mental health support as opposed to women, and so they tend to just suffer in silence, or they're actually more likely to reach out to kind of unhealthier coping skills such as substance use, and so they're a little bit higher risk for that. But then even when you look at suicide, depending on the exact statistics you look at, it can vary a little bit, but for the most part, you're looking at men are actually about 4 times more likely to die to suicide than women are.
Wow.
Because the other thing with that is a lot of times men will tend to take a more lethal means of taking their life, and so it is a really big deal, and so it's something we need to take seriously and try to give more support to the men in our lives, and encourage them to get that help when needed.
And kind of going off of that, what are some signs to look out for, for the men in our lives?
Yeah, so let's look at one of the more common ones of depression. I know if we were to Google depression right now, we'd probably see, some kind of deal with somebody dressed all in black, sitting in a corner crying. But that is not always what depression looks like, especially for men. Instead of it coming out as sadness, their depression can actually come out as anger. And so really being on the lookout of like, hey, has this person's like anger really increased over time? Like, man, is there something, maybe some depression going on there? And so that's one thing. And then like I also said too, they're a little bit more prone to utilize substances as a form of coping.
Yes, and what are some factors affecting like mental health? So like substance abuse is one, your environment, relationships. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and so a big part of it can also just be their support systems, right? Do they have a family that is pro mental health and is pro, people maybe seeking out therapy and things along those lines? In fact, I had a dear friend who's one of my guy friends who he literally reached out to me this past week saying, hey, I've been struggling with some stuff. Can you point me in the right direction for getting some mental health help? And so just normalizing that can be really great. But other things that men can do to help take care of their mental health is, one, taking care of their physical health. We see that there is such a big crossover with mental health and physical health, and so being sure that they're taking care of that. And like I said, utilizing those healthier coping skills, not just going to drowning it out with alcohol or other things along those lines, but hey, what are other things that you can do to deal with that? And if it's to the point of seeking out professional help, then do it. I've talked with Andy about this before when I've been here, it's a lot of times going to a therapist is like going to the dentist. And,
that's so true.
And just trying to normalize it and not try to use shame or embarrassment when you do have a guy in your life that is seeking out that help.
Yeah, and where can one go for more information about mental health resources?
Yeah, well, we actually there's a really cool article on the AFSP website about self-care for men. And so, so that's a great one. And then just utilizing utilizing Google, honestly. We actually have some really great men therapists here in the Amarillo area as well. And sometimes I know other men like connecting with a male professional. And so we definitely have some great ones here in town. And so just looking them up online and seeing, hey, which ones might be a good fit for me.
Right, that is so good. Well, thank you so much, MacKenzie, for being here today and talking about this important topic.
Absolutely. And I also want to encourage people too. We have our Out of Darkness walk coming up at the end of October 11th. And so if people are interested, they can always come. And there's going to be a little resource fair going on there as well. And they can always come and get more information.
Awesome. Thank you, MacKenzie. And we'll have more Studio 4 on the way. Keep it here.